Welcome back to episode 16 of the Pariah Podcast. There's one big story today. Arsenal have toppled Liverpool
All
at the
right.
top of the Premier League. We are now 2 points behind in the title race, 3 points ahead of Manchester City. Oh my goodness. What a game. I want to get straight into it. With me today, I have Faris and Nabir. You will notice a lack of hosts from the Liverpool side. Trust me, I tried my best to arrange them. We had our regular deal who I reached out to was busy. And then I went out on a limb and invited Rayan, who has shown a lot of enthusiasm about the podcast,
Oh,
even requested to be on once or twice, but he also was busy. I just find it interesting that they're busy all of a sudden, but these are busy guys doing great things in life, so I'm gonna take their word for it. But that means I have a free run at talking my talk today, and I intend to do fully that. Let's start off the bat with something that's pissed me off a lot. It's the media reaction to the game. We'll talk about the game in great detail afterward, but I just want to get this stain of a narrative being pushed right now out of the way. So after the game, and you won't believe this when I tell you, our captain Martin Odegaard decided to take a camera and take a picture of our club photographer, who, if you watch the Arsenal documentary on Amazon, you'll know his significance with the club. He's been there for 15 years. He's been our photographer for 15 years. I'm talking like since like Wenger era, Invincible era. He's been around the club, right? Decided to take a picture of him. And that just did not sit right with a lot of people, namely Jamie Carragher, who decided to use it as a point to indicate some level of immaturity for Arsenal as a team, as a fan base, et cetera, et cetera. To that, I have to say, hold. Please, please hold. Because
oh
look,
my God, dude.
I half think Carragher is not serious. But here's what I'll say on the whole over celebration point. I think either Arsenal fans are like the greatest celebrators ever, like the happiest fan base out there, or everyone else is a loser. Like, if you cannot celebrate these moments of football, there's no point being a fan. If you cannot celebrate these moments in a season, there's no point playing these games. I genuinely believe like these people that are bitter regarding Arsenal expect Arsenal to win these big games and just all right, going home. You guys
I
take
know.
care.
I just feel like I wonder how other fans feel. I feel like do they get the same kind of like attack when they celebrate the last minute goal? Because there's
No.
plenty of
It's
teams
because
that
you guys are like the new kids on the block. Like there's been sort of like everyone's had their consistent couple of teams in title races. It's always just been City and Liverpool. And
Mhm.
yeah.
now seeing Arsenal fans get joy, like no one really likes that.
But I'll challenge that a little bit, and I hate doing like whataboutism because I personally am okay with people celebrating however they want to celebrate, right?
Mm.
But if we're talking about extreme celebrations, you look at Spurs, game week 7. Yves Bissouma has his child in a Spurs kit, and he does a lap around the stadium. You look at another Spurs game. Richarlison scores. They form a line in front of the fans, and they push him ahead, and they do the whole run up thing. You look at Liverpool themselves before their surge up. They drew
Yeah.
to West Brom 1-1, and Klopp did the whole everybody hold hands and let's swing and do. That's all. Look, do what you got to do to instill a good, feel good factor at your club, but like don't resort to talking about celebrations. And you know
I think
why?
I think you
Go
should
ahead.
take it as a positive because I feel
Yeah.
like they do it with these other teams in sort of like a almost like a pitying way, like oh let them have their
Yes.
moments. But with Arsenal, everyone's like, oh, these guys are winning, they're doing this. It's kind of like a threatening thing versus like Spurs is just like Spurs aren't
Yeah.
gonna win, so they just say they can do what they want.
I
I think
agree.
right on that. Yeah, I feel like everybody has like a general hate towards Arsenal. I mean, they
Yeah.
all like, we've been away from the picture for a decade or so, and now that we're coming back, it's like not
Yeah,
sitting
that's
right.
what no one wants the status quo to change.
And
And
Right.
now you guys
Carragher
are
especially. I remember last season when you could maybe look at us like the little kid that's like somewhere he's not supposed to be and like winning. He was
mm,
super on our side and rooting for us. I think this season when he sees us as a genuine threat, he's
Yeah.
insecure, he's childish, and most importantly, I think the reason Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher are so obsessed with just nitpicking weird little things about us this season is that they genuinely lack skills as pundits. I don't know
Oh,
how you could watch 90 minutes of that game, of that crazy good football game with a trillion different things to talk about, and you come out of it talking about something that happened after the final whistle blew. That
Yeah,
wasn't really significant. Like
it's
it's
funny because like when I saw it, like without hearing the commentary, I just thought, oh man, this guy takes pictures for all of us. Nobody ever takes one picture.
yeah,
Odegaard's doing a nice thing, taking a picture of him, and it turns out like the whole Twitter is going ballistics.
dude, these
On
people, the people going ballistic don't have friends. Like this is just like a friendly thing to do. It's not like
they don't.
he like was popping champagne or we're taking a team photo. He like just
yeah.
took a picture of a guy.
Dude, and what's also funny is if you saw some of the Sky coverage after, I saw someone like also tweeted about this. They're like, the whole script of the Sky coverage after was like planned as if Arsenal were going to lose the game. So everything Carragher was saying was, if Arsenal would have lost this game, then we would be talking about Arteta's like contract and is he the right man for the job? And I'm like, bro, they just won the game and they're still doing
Yeah,
hypotheticals. It
it's
was
it's
kind of surreal.
it's absurd to me, man. And the other thing that people were, talking trash about was, oh, Arteta's celebration running down the
Yeah.
line. Are you kidding me, bro? I could get you 6 different videos of Klopp doing the exact same thing, and I could get you one additional video of Klopp running onto the pitch to go chest bump Allison while the game is going on. Like, and we love that about him. Like,
Yeah,
the double standards are insane to me. Like, it's crazy.
it's absurd.
But
Talk about the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Enough on that disgrace of punditry from Carragher and Neville. Let's talk about the game, right? So before the game, we did predictions. Faris, I believe you predicted a 2-1 win for Liverpool. Nibs, what
Yeah.
was yours again? Remind me.
I didn't get to do my prediction, but I thought we were going to concede a goal. Unfortunately, we did.
Yeah. And
Wow.
I had a 3-1 win for Arsenal predicted. Funny enough, someone commented on that video on TikTok, a guy by
Mm.
the name of Salah, and he said, "Who's gonna score 3 goals for Arsenal?" Well, Salah, from now on, when I speak, you listen. Do you
Oh my
understand?
God, bro.
Because
Why are you beefing random commenters, dude?
because when I say something, reality bends to my will when it comes to these
Oh,
things. So you listen, okay? That's 2 points for me, 3 points for me on the predictions table. I'm
We're
running.
doing points?
Yeah, I announced it
Oh,
already. But
fair
more
enough.
about the game. Listen, let's just get one stat off right away.
Mhm.
We had 3.52 expected goals against Liverpool, which, it's a big number, but to put it into context, that is the most Liverpool have ever faced since the stat was created.
Wow.
Even more impressively, that's higher than the expected goals Liverpool generated against United when they scored 7. So it
What the
it,
hell?
it was 3-1 on the score line, but let it be very oh, also the XG that Liverpool generated was less than what United generated when they lost 7-0. So although it
Wow.
was 7-1 on the score line, that was a battering. Don't be confused about it. We made the team at the top of the Premier League
Yeah.
look average. And you could say these things about, oh, Salah wasn't there, oh, Trent was half fit, oh, Robertson wasn't fully available. We were dealing with injuries of our own. That was just tactics for tactics, energy for energy. We blew them out of the water. And the game, let's tell the story of the game, right? We get that goal a good way into the first half, right? Havertz goes clean through, doesn't really get a shot off well. Allison parries it over to Saka, who's able to finish. And
Mhm.
then the rest of the first half, we continue to create chances. We're not really putting them away. Same old story. You've been hearing about us for the last couple of weeks. And then let's talk about the incident that made it 1-1, I think 10 seconds before halftime.
Mhm.
What do you guys make of
We,
that? Go ahead,
I
Fars.
think I was gonna say like I feel like any of the three people involved could have probably done a better job.
I agree.
It's just like who you assign the blame to is fine. Like I think initially Araya should come out and collect, but then I think if you're in that situation, Saliba should clear, and then Gabriel's just kind of pointing his finger and like I don't know necessarily what he was doing. Maybe he's less to blame, but
Yeah.
like it was just one of the it was just comical. I don't know. Like it just kind of happened. Like it's not, you can't really just say it was one person's fault. But like if I was to say, I would say Raya should have come out to collect. Like that was the move.
Yeah, I agree in that. Like, I think it's difficult to for me, if you are going to point the finger, it's between Raya and Saliba. I think although
Yeah.
the own goal is on Gabriel, it's just like he doesn't
Yeah.
have time to react. It comes off his hand. It's an awkward position. But I think that situation was like a symptom of us getting a little too comfortable, like
Hmm.
trying to play too perfectly, right? I think Saliba not clearing it is a case of, oh, I don't want to waste possession. I want Raya to grab this so he could redistribute. I think Raya not going for it is like his confidence in Saliba to be able to just win that ball even easier and make it even easier for him, right?
Yeah.
That little moment scared me so much, bro. Like it reminded me of the team, not even from last year, from 2 years ago when we, came up short in our top four race. Like we would go in a lot of these games leading, and there would just be like a lapse of concentration, a red card, a mistake, something that's just so like immature. It's a byproduct of immaturity in the team, and it just like cost us. I think the difference today, and I wanted to text this in our group chat, but I didn't want to risk getting yelled at. I was so glad that the equalizer came right before halftime because I know when this team faces like setbacks, it takes them a second to like recalibrate. They had a
Mhm.
whole 15 minutes to be like, guys, we just destroyed them for 45 minutes.
Mhm.
If we just do that again and cut that stupidity out at the very end, we win this game. Like, and
I
I
kind of
think
felt the other way. I thought right before half, I thought that was gonna totally affect them. Like they were gonna go down. Like I don't
in
know.
terms of motivating Liverpool, you're right. I think that
Yeah.
goal for Liverpool at that time is huge, right? Because they go into it, we just got let off the hook. Like we played horribly for 45 minutes, but it's as if nothing ever happened. We just have to
Yeah, my
go there.
initial my initial thought was just like, oh, they conceded there. I think this turns the tide, regardless of what each other team is saying in the dressing
And to
room.
be
But
fair,
I was surprised. Genuinely, I was surprised that you guys won in the end.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between prior season and this season. I feel
Hmm.
like that halftime, it was not best that we conceded like right before halftime, but it was like the perfect test for us to see if we actually have changed from last
yeah.
season. If
Like
we went on to lose this game, this would be like oh the same old Arsenal. But
Same
like the
old,
fact
same old.
kind of like even like first 15 minutes right after we came back, I thought, oh my God,
yeah.
it's like let's figure this out. Like they were bombing five players like straight to the line. There was like too many people on the wings overlapping, and I guess the wingers were really just like coming at us. And I felt like,
Hmm.
oh, this is gonna be like the start of their dominance. Shada is gonna get some flick in. They're gonna
Yo,
do
that
the
Jota narrative needs to die. Those clips are expiring. He hasn't scored against us in the last 2 years. So like we need to cut that narrative out. I did not fear that guy. But you're right. Like the first 10 minutes after the half came back, like Liverpool looked on it. The reason I say I
Hmm.
preferred us conceding before the half is I don't know what that game looks like if Liverpool get their equalizer after the half. I think
Yeah.
that probably is worse for us, but obviously an ideal where we don't concede at all. And then the magic moment happens. I think it's a long ball from Gabriel.
Mhm.
Martinelli is challenging Virgil van Dijk for it all the way. Virgil's holding him up, kind of ushering Allison to come collect. Allison kind of collides with Van Dijk, and as a result, isn't able to get a clean contact on the ball. Martinelli's the benefactor from the situation and puts it away very cleanly. Almost like a different version of the same event that happened for their
Yeah, I was
equalizer.
gonna say, dude, seeing the social media reaction to the Saliba error and like the instant flip to now it's a Van Dijk error, like it was like instant karma. I was like, the whole world was like, "Oh, Saliba, I told you he's overrated," and then everyone's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, Van Dijk's washed," and I was like, "What is going
Yeah,
on?"
no, and I'm glad it was equal because I was half expecting just based off like narratives, like the Gordon Ramsay meme where he's like yelling at one guy and then cuddling
Yeah,
with the other. But thank God it was like, okay, two crazy, crazy errors from two elite center backs. But
But let's give the flowers to my dog Martinelli, man. Like I feel like if Jeremy Doku had the same performance as Martinelli, the whole Twitter would have been just praising the crap out of him. Like the persistence he has, like his like determination to get the ball, the number of sprints he's made in that game,
crazy.
the way he took on Trent, man. It was like a beautiful thing
Dude,
to
he
watch.
was dancing with Trent. That's like
Yeah.
that's free
Like
food. It was
it was like
crazy.
it was like fundamentals he was doing, and he was doing perfectly, and Trent was just eating it up every time.
They had to triple team him at a certain point in the game, and that just like I love that we have wingers that
Yeah,
require that. Like Saka's
yeah.
always getting double team, triple team, regardless. But now that Nelly is picking up that type of like, you know, aura in this league, I love it because it opens up so many other things for us. And the most impressive thing I want to point out, look, we talk about Konate a lot as an impressive footballer. I think one of his most remarkable like stats coming out was that he's one of the fastest defenders in the world. His sprint speed in the France team is like one of the highest, right?
Hmm.
That sprint Martinelli had, that he took it the length of the pitch and then crossed it for Saka, which really should have been our first goal.
Yeah.
That sprint, man, like I think there's very few players in the world that can pull that off while carrying the ball. He was outpacing Konate with the ball in stride. It's not like he was knocking it forward and running to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
He was dribbling the ball. It was
And
unreal.
Konate had yards ahead of him. Like he was yards ahead of him starting
Yeah,
off.
yeah. It's crazy.
And the way he just, oh man, it was a beautiful thing to watch
But
him on the.
we'll get back to individual performances. And then finally, the last goal, the dagger. Leandro Trossard came on for Martinelli. I believe it was like the 75th minute or 70th minute. That sub had some controversy on the TL, but I think it was mostly because like Martinelli was doing a lot of sprints. You know, it could be a physical
Wasn't the
issue.
red card at that point already too?
No, no, no. Well,
Yes.
at that time, yeah, yeah.
So the red
Okay.
card had happened on Ibrahim Konate. Both challenges were yellow cards with Havertz. We'll talk about him later. We'll talk
Mm.
about the red card incident later too. But that situation left, I believe it was Luis Diaz playing right back.
Yeah,
And then he had cover from, I believe, Harvey Elliott.
yeah,
And Trossard kind of maneuvered past both through the legs of Allison. It was such a good goal. Like we needed that dagger because otherwise that last 7 minutes it could feel a little
Yeah, could have
different.
gone anywhere.
And I wanna credit now I want to get into like the individual performances. I want to credit Leandro Trossard. I know last week we didn't speak about the Forest game, but in extra time in that Forest game, you remember it was we only had a 1-0 lead, right? It was KG, and the one person I could look to and feel calm when they had the ball was Trossard. I think
mm,
this closer ability he's developing of like being, the older player, the more senior player that can come on and hold up the ball or maybe score the goal that's needed. I think that's very much appreciated in this squad. I wanted to give him his flowers. I
yeah,
think
for
another
sure.
player who was immense in a different way was Havertz at striker, right? Like as a goal
What
scorer, huh?
I want to as far as what do you think?
Yeah,
Do you,
before I
On
go
on Kai or on the game or
on
just
Kai.
I wasn't necessarily like looking out for him like I have been recently on former Chelsea players, but again, maybe you guys saw it differently. I thought he was meh, like I don't know. I
I
know you
think
guys are gonna praise like some of the physicality stuff,
yeah,
and I'll give him that. He kind of can be like an asshole when he needs to be, and like kind of squaring up players, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like performance wise, I don't really think he was anything special. I think again, up top on striker, he's kind of just like he doesn't have that like oomph that you need.
Mhm.
But the playing up top, hold up play, that kind of stuff, like I thought was fine. He wasn't the one that like stood out to me like other players on the pitch did, if that's what you're kind of looking for.
Yeah, I don't think he was a standout player, but I'm gonna be bold and say I don't think we win that game if he doesn't play. Because
Oh.
like I think you're right. As a striker, he's meh, right? Like
Hmm.
as a person whose job it is to put the ball in the back of the net, he's not doing that
yeah,
well or anything. I'm not gonna suggest anything like that. But I think his mere physical presence and at least the sharpness he played with today in terms of connecting the dots,
mhm.
I
Hmm.
think that was a difference because I watched the game twice. Like after the game finished, I watched it again. Uh, three moments that
Damn.
stood out to me. You'll remember Martinelli won the ball a couple of times in the final third, right? We had a
Yeah,
couple like
mm,
presses that worked out and we retained possession. Both times where that play went to Havertz, he played the perfect pass, right? One time it created a shooting opportunity for Odegaard. Another time I believe it was a pass out wide to Saka, right? That's I know this is like Bay being a 65 million pound player, but
Yeah.
those two things are chances we don't create with Jesus there.
While he's doing that, the same thing, he's taking off one of the defenders. Like the way he
Yes.
shielded off either Konate or Van Dijk during that point,
Yeah.
it's like you're canceling on one of the key figures of your
All
Liverpool.
you need to see to directly compare and contrast, watch the Arsenal game at Anfield. Jesus got bullied by Konate,
Mhm.
right? I'm not gonna sit here and say anything outrageous like, oh, Havertz bullied Konate, but Havertz challenged him, and Havertz at the end of the day is who got him sent off, right? Like that element, I think, is crazy valuable. And when you look at the two biggest home games we've won this season, City and Liverpool,
He
I
plays
think
striker.
Havertz, maybe he didn't single-handedly win us the game. I'm not going to say anything crazy like that. But I think without him, those results don't go our way.
I
And
think
to,
any striker that is willing to kind of run the channels and get behind, like Jesus is always going to want the ball to feet. And the second that happens, having Van Dijk in front of you or having Ruben Diaz in front of you, like he's not really going to get past them, like one on
yeah.
one. Like Havertz, yeah, like any striker really doing those roles in behind, covering space is going to lead to success. It's just funny that he's the guy leading the line, but I mean,
Yeah,
I think
no,
yeah. Go
I'll
ahead.
agree with you that, hey, there's probably a much better solution. A guy that could
Yeah,
do all the things he's doing now and score. And,
yeah,
like,
You know, the funny thing is, who this reminds me of? Like if Arteta had Giroud,
oh my God.
yeah.
this would have been like this guy could have finished and held up the ball and had the physicality. Like that.
Drew's like aging like fine wine too, dude.
Dude,
He's
Giroud
cooking
was
it.
at the game today.
Yeah.
So was Theo. It was nice to see us finally win a game with people present. Um, Another huge performance, huge performance I want to point out is from your guy. You call him J5, I call him J20. The Italian Brazilian Jorginho himself. He rolled back the years, man. Like I don't think
That
there was a
was fun to watch.
single pass was put wrong. A single idea was wrong. Him and Rice in midfield gave us a stability and beat that Liverpool press so easily on so many occasions. It was amazing to watch. We talked about that Liverpool press in that Chelsea game and how suffocating it could be and how apparent it was the entire game. I didn't feel it at all today. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of that is down to them.
I've always enjoyed certain Jorginho games in the past few years at Chelsea, and it's funny those are always the games where like Conte is doing like the dirty work, and then it lets, in this sense, I guess it's Rice, but and Jorginho just gets to sit and dictate,
Yeah.
and it's funny because like that's someone we're kind of missing right now, like a holding midfielder, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, just all the balls he had in behind. Like he had just perfectly weighted, always like through the channels, always breaking the lines, and it was so simple. Like that kind of like I really love a clean game like that where it's just like 100% pass accuracy. Just find someone, keep it
Dude,
moving.
that one pass, it was Saka that tried to find Rice inside. The ball didn't get to Rice. It fell to Jorginho. I think the entire stadium and all of Liverpool expected him to shoot. I expected him to shoot.
Yeah.
Instead, he plays an inch perfect pass to Martinelli, who he
Mm.
himself probably wasn't even expecting. If you see the way he receives that ball, he's like, "How did this get here?" Uh, but that could have been another goal too. I just think of course there were people that stood out for their performances, but I don't think a single player played bad today. Like
Yeah.
you look at Ben White, he
Yeah.
he was he was locking up Luis Diaz. Obviously, you could talk about like Saliba's error or whatever, but I think in general, Gabriel and Saliba looked on it today. Zinchenko, while he was on, I think he got injured unfortunately. But while he was on, looked very capable. He was playing in Martinelli all the time, which was great. Kivior, who probably had like a little boogeyman in his head because he was a guy that scored the own goal in that FA Cup match against Liverpool. Composed himself so well. Like I think Odegaard should have had 2 assists today if Kivior and Havertz could have finished. Like everybody was on it. The game was perfect. I love this team. That's me done.
Is it over for Liverpool in this?
Ooh,
Is anything was anything decided today?
nothing was
So
decided today, in my opinion.
yeah, I don't think anything was decided, but
Like
like
no
feel
one's going up, no one's going down. It's just same path.
No, I think look, I never officially said this, but I implied it by saying we'll get back in it. I think up until today, Arsenal were out of the title race. Like after our like horrid run of form in the last 5 games prior to Forest, I think
Mm,
that ruled us out for a little bit. I think this game gets us back in the conversation. Are we forerunners in that conversation? No. If it's a three-person title race, we're third, right? Like if City wins both games in hand, which they likely will, we will sit third in this picture. But we're there, right?
mm,
Does it mean Liverpool season's over? No, because I will still maintain, like, at least from my perspective, their squad did have people coming back from injury. They're playing away from home. They're playing one of the two other best sides in the country, right? Like
yeah,
this game could have been a loss. What I'm most interested in seeing is what the next game for these two teams look like, right? Like
yeah,
because I've seen it before with Arsenal. You win a big game, you lose a big game. The next one, you see, hey, how is this season going to be? It's usually lesser opposition. We play West Ham. I'm not sure who,
I feel like Liverpool will keep it rolling. Like I don't know why. I don't want to say off day. I don't want to like take away credit. But like I think I don't even know who they have next, but it just feels like one they kind of drop and then win the next five. I
but
don't
can
know.
I say something in regards to that? Like
Yeah, you got it.
I know I said, look, nothing's decided, but we ended a 17 game winning streak for Liverpool, and I think in the Prem, when people see you bleed, it like adds
I don't know.
something.
I don't know, dude.
Like Liverpool, when they prior to this game, everyone here was like, oh, like they're winning every game. Like it's just like
Yeah.
a given. Luckily, they play Burnley next, right? So I don't know.
No, they have a dude. Their run up until City is very calm.
Yeah.
Burnley,
So
Brentford, Luton, Nottingham Forest. Come on, dude.
Those are
hey,
not easy games, man. Brentford and Luton, I'm telling you. My
Oh no,
biggest,
I'll be there at the Luton game. I'll be in England, but I'll make that happen because I need to see that live.
but I think like like the way you guys feel about like they're gonna clear teams, but I really feel like you remember in the first half of this, or most of the first half of the season, like Salah was getting Liverpool out of the trouble for a lot of those games. Like they were not playing like
issue
amazing football,
is he's coming back, so they'll have him.
Yeah,
but like I feel like
I
there's
know
there's
the point you're trying to make. Of
there
like, no, you
yeah,
got it.
there's heavy chance that they can just fall off. Like it's not like I just feel like today, like the way they played, bro, the how rattled they look, like Van Dijk and Konate, they were misplacing passes, like
They bled.
they're like they were shaken. And I feel like if that's possible, even like in your core team, I feel like was there. Obviously, Salah and them are missing, but most of their midfield was there. I feel like one player that kind of held his own was McAllister. He
Yeah,
was
he was
Yeah,
playing
good.
really good passes. Credit credits too, but other than him, I really didn't see any
and
sort of.
dude, the other guy, what's his name? Gravenberch. He is not a player, dude.
He was doing a ghost sesh. He had Harry
I
Potter's
felt
invisibility cloak.
like Curtis Jones was okay. He was noticeable, but Gravenberch had no influence impact on the game whatsoever.
You just
It was
use his body to shield the ball every now and then, and that's it. Like it was
yeah,
that's all he provided.
Yeah,
But we'll
no.
see.
Look, I'm not gonna write Liverpool off at all, but
yeah.
I think them showing that they could be beaten, I think that does hold significance in this league. You're right though, their run up until the end doesn't look too bad. The only notable opponents I'm seeing are Chelsea in the League Cup final. They got City. There's no like real sign of fixture congestion. I think that's credit to them being in the Europa League.
Is City
My
at Anfield?
City's at Anfield.
Mm.
Damn.
But things could
But
get interesting for you guys in 5 weeks.
yeah, no. Let's just say, look, we got what we wanted. There is well and truly a title race this
Mm.
year. And we'll talk a little bit about the top four race later. But before we get to that,
Oh God.
Forest. I feel like every week we're talking about the same damn thing. We had Chelsea
Dude,
crumble.
doing a Chelsea section after just sitting here and listening to Arsenal praise for 30 minutes is crazy. I like
This
you
is
want me to
hell.
like am I supposed to just recap what I saw?
No,
You
no,
watched the
look.
game, right?
Yeah, I watched the game.
Hmm.
I thought when Palmer scored, it could have been a great day for y'all. To be honest, up
Could have.
until that point, Wolves didn't really threaten like crazy.
Hmm.
But look, the game ended 4-2. And I think after 2-1, it only looked like Wolves were winning to me. Like, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I saw heads drop very fast. Um, a Mateus Cunha hat trick. I don't know if I could have predicted that. I think there are times where you got unlucky in this game, but overall, Wolves did merit the 3 points. I just think, bro, like the context of the result is way more important than the game itself, right? Like the game itself, I don't think showed
Yeah.
me anything new about Chelsea that I didn't already know. It's just little things like, oh, Thiago Silva's wife is tweeting suggesting that Potts should be fired. I wonder like what Thiago Silva now thinks, right? That's one of your more senior players. When I see Caicedo go to the bench and start literally physically assaulting the siege. That was out of character.
Yeah, why
uh,
was he so pissed?
I mean, he got hooked,
Dude,
right? But like,
I don't even know what the dressing room is like right now, dude. Imagine you have like 20 kids that were all signed on exorbitant fees that all think they're the best player in the world, like
Yeah.
pointing fingers at each other. And
and
then
half
one
of them
guy who
don't really speak English either.
yeah, no,
Like,
there's just talking to themselves. Everyone's like 15 voices at once. Yeah,
that's
but
a nightmare blood rotation.
I don't know, dude. I think like as much like the last few weeks with wins or losses, I've been able to like point at different people and be like, oh, this guy caused this guy caused this. I can't keep doing that. And I think at this point, like you have to just make a decision and fire him. I don't know if that is
Disagree.
too, yeah.
I
Like my
completely
here's my
disagree.
reasoning. Here's my reasoning. Like I said, I attribute a lot of the blame to where we've been just in general to more higher ups, the squad building in general. But like as a manager, this is like this is not going to stop till the end of the year. And unless the club is accepting that like Chelsea is going to finish 12th again, Chelsea's going to get knocked out of the FA Cup, Chelsea's going to lose the League Cup final because and again reasoning of oh there's not a good enough manager available, oh the squad can't be saved. Like what are our ambitions for onward? Like you fire, I mean, you keep him in and then you fire him in the summer or you reassess or you give him another year. Like I don't know, this just feels like a cycle. We win against some like championship teams, some promoted teams, and we lose against games that matter. And then we're stuck here talking about, why'd you sign this guy? Why'd this guy play bad? I think the only way to stop the bleeding is for him to go, even if it's not completely justified.
Mhm.
I agree. Sacking him might stop the bleeding,
Mm.
but I fear the long term consequence of sacking him. I think
There is no
Bowley's
long term right now, dude, by the way.
I agree that there's no long term, but your squad is built for the long term, right?
Yeah,
And I think Bowley's mantra this whole time has been one of like, I know it sounds corny, but like trust the process, right? Like, and
sure.
you had a similar thing go on with when Potter was here, right? The management always emphasized that like, hey, we're here to build. We're not here to you know, win off instant gratification, right? This is a project. I think you could get away with firing one of those guys after saying that. I think if you fire another project manager while he's projecting, I think the job becomes a little comical.
But
Like,
dude, our two directors, Stanley and Stewart, they had like Lampard came in as the interim, I think in like March. And from that point on, they had until whenever Pochettino was hired to find the replacement. And if
Yeah.
these guys can't even admit that they were wrong in hiring the last three managers, dude, I just like how can I trust them to even find the next guy?
that's
Like
what
how
I'm
can I
saying.
trust
I think you just wait and hope it comes good.
but I'm also saying I don't even trust the Pochettino hire. Like they had 3 months and they said that this is the best guy for this group of kids. And then you have to say like, and no one can handle a group of just players like this.
Yeah, we talk about, hey, there's no continuity in the squad. Everyone's new. No one knows what the hell to do. What
Yeah.
happens when you add another new guy who's in charge of all the other new guys,
But
right?
I
Like,
feel this new guy doesn't really serve a purpose of like serving continuity. I feel like they need a reset because at this point it's like
How do you reset a
oh
billion
wait,
dollar squad?
how do you reset a reset? Poch was the reset. Like
you're right, but they just look like they need another reset because this reset is not working out.
Mm,
it's nuts. Because look, if we were talking with the guy that was here from the beginning, Potter, Sure, I could say, look, it's
Yeah.
clearly not working. Go get a winner. Go get somebody who could patch the hole. And then you fire Potter and you get Lampard, right? Which like
But that was
obviously
never intended to be
I
anything. It was
understand,
just
but I
last
feel
eight
like with the
games.
interim manager, it's a free hit at trying something that could work, right? I think by hiring Lampard, it's just like, all
I
right,
don't know, dude.
this is for vibes. And then you get Poch, give him an entire summer, give him an entire preseason,
Hmm.
and it still is not working. If I'm sitting on the Chelsea board right now, here's what I'm telling Poch: the league's a wash. Don't get relegated.
Yeah.
Go out there and bring home one of these cups. I don't care if you only train for Villa and Liverpool for the next month.
Yeah.
You better bring home a trophy this season. And the next season, you better use that to go not finish 12th. Right? Like, I don't think these guys that own your club are venture capitalists. They don't believe in like
Hmm.
slow growth, especially when they're investing the amount they
Dude,
are.
they're out of their depth, bro. They are out of their depth.
But it's going to be a slow climb. And I obviously this is the inherent question. You even alluded to it. You fire Poch, who do you get?
Mourinho is in the shouts.
Dog.
Oh my, dude, Mourinho would save us for maybe 5 games, and then he would set us back like 20 years.
That's what
Yeah.
I was saying.
He is not the guy you want to put in charge of a bunch of kids. Like the who I don't know who would fall out first, but it would 100% the players would like drop tools like 5 games
Enzo
in.
would be at Madrid in 3 months. Enzo,
That's a whole nother conversation to have. If these players think they are the quality of Madrid and Barcelona and like
nah,
after what I've seen, man,
the way
I
Caicedo was beating up that seat, I think he thinks he's the shit. I'm gonna be honest.
dude, I know some of these guys are regretting some decisions, man.
Oh,
Like Caicedo, like I respect the loyalty. He had a deal with us, but like, dude, you could be top of the table right now. You could be starting for Liverpool. Enzo, forced his way out. Enzo probably would have been somewhere in Spain. But like,
uh,
but I'm like, I can't do it with the players either. Like, I hate that like the manager is like the scapegoat always, and that's not going to change. Like, no player is going to get sold or players are going to get dropped. But I would love if Pochettino was like, no more influence from the people above to you have to play this guy, you have to start this guy, you have to do this and that. I just want to see him just play who you want to play. Like you said, everything's a wash. Win the cups or try to win the cups and play like whatever you want to do at this point. Like I don't think it's whatever's right now is not working.
but can I say something? Like the paradigm hasn't shifted for me. Like something crazy to read today. We were talking in our group chat. Someone sent like that City's next five opponents are all bottom half. When you said that Chelsea is included within that, that was still like, whoa to me, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like a crazy situation. But on the other hand, when I see a Chelsea game on our schedule, I'm not licking my lips. I
Mhm.
think you are in this weird state where like you obviously
Yeah,
still
that's
are
true.
you still are a big team that can produce a big result, I believe, whenever, but you're just like fooling around. Like it really is just like a
It's this gray area, even like how, people's perception of us. A lot of people are like, "Oh, Chelsea are not a big club because no one's talking about them being bad a year later." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Like that doesn't really do anything for anyone besides like,
yeah, I wish that was the case, but to be honest, like we play you guys on March 16th. I'm not looking forward to that game as like an easy 3 points. Like
Yeah.
I still think you
dude,
guys,
that's so far from now. We could be
I
something
feel
completely
like
different at
I
that
feel
point."
like it's volumes to like how inconsistent they are because we know they're the players they have are like can be world class at a moment and then shit
Mhm.
the next.
yeah, case in
Uh,
point that in Kunku goal against Liverpool, like out of nowhere, just pulled out a crazy sequence because
Yeah.
he is that level of players. You have that level of player everywhere. They're just not doing it all the time.
I'm sure
Uh,
there's
like,
some phrase about like puzzle pieces and not the whole picture. There's something you could say.
yeah,
It-
that's why I personally believe that Liverpool game is not a write-off. Like I know you're
yeah,
writing it off in your head, but like it's a cup final. You have
I think
players that are good. It could
I'm
have.
I'm worried about
the
these like
Chelsea dub. Just saying right now.
chill, dude. I'm worried about the mentality of these guys, dude. these guys are at like even this Villa replay is on Wednesday. These guys are so mentally like one thing goes wrong and now everyone's misplacing passes. Everyone's like in their head. And again, when you have 22-year-old players, there's no one. You have Thiago Silva who doesn't speak English trying to tell you to calm down, and his wife's tweeting at you online, dude. That is not our leader, dude. Our captain Gallagher just running around doing nothing. Our vice captain Chilwell forgot how to play. The situation is so bad that like everything has to align perfectly for us to see out a game nowadays.
Your
That's
next
insane.
your next 7 Premier League games. I'm gonna just
I've
read
looked at
them.
that like 100 times. Go ahead.
It's Crystal Palace away,
Mm,
Man City away,
Mm,
Spurs at home, and then
mm.
in the middle you play Liverpool in the cup final. Then you play Brentford away. Then you
God.
play Newcastle at home. Then you play us away. You get a break with Burnley, and then you play United.
Funny. What's funny, Faris? We talked about the schedule in the beginning of the season, and you guys did pretty well on that schedule. That
That's true.
crazy run of games. You guys pulled out a lot of performances. So
I get it was a lot of like it was the Spurs win and then the City and Arsenal draw.
Yeah.
yeah,
But why
and
does that feels
that
like
galvanized you guys.
ages ago?
Yeah. I don't
Dude, we're actually so freaking mid-table, dude. We're talking about 4-4 draws. Come on, man. I hate this, dude. I hate the rebuild. I hate the being in this limbo. It sucks.
Yeah, but it's crazy because if a certain couple of these results, like the thinnest of margins, went a different way, you could be in a conversation we're about to start now, which is this
Mm,
conversation for top four. I think the top three places are kind of sealed away without sounding too arrogant, right? Like I think
definitely 100%.
it'll be Liverpool, Arsenal, City in some order, right? We don't know
Mhm.
what, but it'll be that. And then you have Villa who sit on 46 points. You have Spurs who are sitting on 44 points, both with 23 games played. And then a little bit further behind them, you have United at 38, West Ham at 36, and then Brighton at 35, Newcastle slipping at 33, and then Chelsea at 31, and Wolves at 32. I'll mention them just in case there's a Wolves fan listening. That's a lot
I
of
think
teams.
I think yeah, what I want to do is just ask everyone who's their fourth place team end of the season. I know we did predictions, they could have changed. I don't even remember what I said. But if you guys want to if you want to start it off.
I'll go. I got Aston Villa finishing top four.
Okay.
You
I'm not
know,
with you then.
I'll,
I'm
I'll
not
give
with
you
you at
one
all.
reason why, and it's going to be Ollie Watkins. That
Oh, he's
guy,
he's class, yeah.
that guy is going to have a 20-goal season this season. I
Mhm.
promise you that. Like, I watched that Villa game over the weekend, and I know it's a bad one to judge off because they battered a team 5-0. But there's quality in that team. I think they have quality in defense, quality in midfield, quality in attack, and they have a World Cup winner in goal. Like, and they don't have a crazy run of games. I know they're in the Conference League, but like
Mm.
should be manageable. And they have a coach that has had a longer time with them than Ange has at Spurs. That's why I backed them to edge it.
Okay, my thing, I think United are gonna shithouse their way into fourth.
Oh my God, you think it's
I th
United?
I think United is gonna shithouse their way into fourth. I know they had a what's his name, Lissandro get hurt again, but dude, I was watching them today. At moments, I was like, West Ham could have scored five, and these guys won 3-0, dude.
Yeah, bro.
That
No.
Dude,
I like I just
United.
feel like they're gonna be such a pain to play against because again, like these counterattacking teams, they're not bad. They have good players. And it's just United. Like it's just I hate them and I just feel like it's gonna be them. I know they're a little ways off right now, but they beat Villa on next week and it's different.
Yeah, I did not expect you to pick United. I'm gonna be honest. But you're right. Like they have, I think their young players are stepping up. Garnacho learned how to finish, which is huge.
Mm.
You got Manu, who's looking like a mainstay, making up for
Nibs, who you
Casemiro.
got, dude? Nibs, tell me you're with
I
me.
think I'm gonna give the last guy a chance. It's gonna be Spurs.
Okay. That's not
Boo,
the craziest one, dude. It is.
boo.
I feel like they're just clicking and bro, it's Sun returning. I feel like I don't know, like Richarlison scoring this amount of
Yeah,
goals is
Yeah, that's
what's
wild.
going on, yo? That has to stop. That can't go on. A brace, bro? He
yeah,
scored
bro.
9 goals in his last 10 games.
I think
Yeah.
they Spurs are still just like leaky at the back, dude. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think
But
teams have found out Vicario on corners. I don't know if y'all are noticing, but I'm
Yeah,
noticing.
I
they
Um,
haven't
have.
clocked that.
I
But there's
think
the there's a lot of good, like I don't know, there's so many great games left amongst those teams. And
Yeah.
sure, like Chelsea probably can ruin one of theirs day like with a draw or like just a performance out of nowhere. But I just have a feeling like it's almost inevitable that it will be United. I know that sounds kind of bad right now because of where they're at. But I don't know. Also, I just feel like Villa is just gonna fall off, and they have not started to do that yet. I already just assumed they would fall off, and it
dude,
hasn't started.
I was with you. I think our bias is like, oh, like they're not a top team.
Hmm.
Bro, go through their squad. They
There's top
have better
players.
they have better winger depth than us.
Yeah.
No, they are a very good team.
It's kind of scary. Like
Bro,
the
and the
reason
way Luis has been playing, like,
Douglas Luiz, when they quoted us 80 million, dog, I
yeah.
get it. I
Yeah.
understand I understand what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah, and on your Watkins point, it's interesting that like in the summer or the transfer names you hear just like Ozyman and Tony, and
Yeah.
Watkins doesn't get thrown around at all. And again, he would cost the
Watkins,
same price as Tony, probably like 80 million area.
bro,
I don't know
Here.
what's like the reasoning for that. I don't know.
and
I would take him.
look at
I,
Diaby, look at Leon Bailey. They're
Hmm.
moving clinically and they're moving very direct. It's scary to watch if I'm being totally honest. I'm not looking forward to the Villa game we're playing. I quickly want to take a look at the schedules for these teams. I think we're at a point now where there's like not too many games left and we could start making these judgments. To start with Spurs in the Prem, they got Brighton left, Wolves, they will play Chelsea away at some point. That game's postponed. They have Crystal Palace. They meet Villa at Villa Park, right? I think that's Point Villa Park. Um, they play Fulham away, Luton at home, West Ham away, Forest at home, Newcastle away. I think that's another big scary fixture. They play
it's
City at home. They play Arsenal at home. Oh, okay, this is bad. Their last 5 games of the season, it goes City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Liverpool's at Anfield, and then they close out with Burnley and Sheffield.
damn.
It could
Yikes.
it could all fall apart in April for them, to be honest. Let's look at United. I always feel stupid looking at fixtures because like we think things now and then things go a completely
Yeah.
different way. But like I think there's still something to be gained to at looking. Let's look at United. Um, so they played West Ham. They got Villa away next weekend. We talked
Yeah, that
about
would be a
that.
good one, honestly.
They have Luton away, which recently has been scary. Fulham at home, City away, Everton at home, Sheffield at home, Brentford away, Chelsea away, Liverpool at home, and then the rest of it, they finish out fair. Actually, no, they don't. Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home, and the last 4 of the season, Burnley at home, Palace away, Arsenal in the penultimate game, and then Brighton away in the final game. So I
Yeah,
don't
for
know.
top four race and for title race, like that's a huge game for both you guys.
And we play Spurs the 2 weekends before, so our end of the season is gonna be rough. I
Yeah.
think I think City have the clearest path. I think Liverpool have the second clear, and then we have the toughest path. It's not gonna be easy. Um, Faris, you want to give me your title prediction?
Day one, I did say Arsenal. Have I wavered from that? Maybe a little bit.
I would
I
have.
I, I think that the City inevitability is starting to kick in a bit.
Mhm.
Shit.
Um, but I don't know. Like some days I don't want you guys to win because of again the ego and the confidence stuff. But like more, I don't want Liverpool to win at all. It's like it's City win, I feel nothing. So that's the order of like emotions. What I actually think will happen right now, I think it'll probably be City. Yeah, I know you guys don't want to hear that, but
No, I'm gonna actually agree. I think
yeah,
I think it'll be City, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I'm sticking with Arsenal, baby.
stick with Arsenal, dude.
But I will revise this after the next 2 City games. I want to see how they treat these 2 games in hand. Like playing games in hand is scarier than most people think. Like the expectation is
Yeah,
they'll just win. And if they do just win and make it look as easy as that, they got it. if it's
I feel like they're such an outlier to most of the normal like Prem things that happen. The only thing that is always guaranteed about City, the Pep Guardiola City season is they'll have like a rough patch, like in the
and they'll
first half
lose
of
to
the season,
Tottenham, and they'll lose to
and they'll lose
Tottenham.
to Tottenham.
That's guaranteed. That
They
Tottenham.
don't deal with the other stuff. Like they never have to deal with like new manager bounce. Like they always deal with that fine against whoever they play. They don't go against like these things you mentioned. But yeah, Spurs and then like that dip in form. After that, they're just 15 games in a row. It's gone.
Mhm. And I think we'll know our winner by the start of April, because by the start of April, City will have played everybody,
Yeah,
bar like a couple of the bottom half teams.
it's
So
exciting.
man, it's
Yeah.
very exciting. What a season we're having. I also want to give a quick shout out. I know we talked about United briefly. Hoyland scoring pretty regularly now. Great goals.
I'm a fan of his, genuinely. I think he's a
Yeah.
great player.
Tripod
Good.
was early. Let it be known. Um, but yeah, good player. Good stuff going on in the Prem. Anything else from you guys?
Hey man, Luton Town. You think they're gonna stay up?
Dude.
I hope so.
Dude, they're playing some good football. I mean, obviously fumbling up.
Yo, we beat that super team both times this season. I just want to put that out
That's
there.
super
We
team.
we beat that super team both times.
I had them dead last in my predictions, man. Boy,
Yeah,
boy
same.
Yeah.
was boy
No, no,
was
we
I
didn't give
wrong.
them like an ounce of respect. So fair play.
I don't think they deserved it. I think they've earned it. And I think
No.
Ross Barkley has single-handedly
Oh,
dragged
he's
them
dude.
to.
Also, I saw their managers like in like thirst traps on Twitter.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
dude.
And funny enough, in his most recent interview, his wife, I think, directed this. He has his wedding ring in like the
Oh
clip
my
for like
God.
all. He's like literally talking like this. I was like, bro,
No,
if you don't
Wow.
put your hand down. But ever
No,
since he started getting put in thirst traps, they've been hooping. He
I
said the
saw one
hoes
that
are
had
watching.
like it had like 6,000 quotes, and I was like, bro, did he just like call out a player or something? And then I clicked on the quotes, and I was like, oh, it's one of
Yeah.
those.
Good looking dude, man. Can't fault him. Another funny story. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but Inter Miami's doing like a international world tour preseason,
Mhm.
and as a result of this, Messi got hurt, and he hasn't been able to show up at any of the training sessions so far in China. And the Hong Kong municipal government released an official statement condemning Messi.
no shot.
Dog.
I find,
What
dude,
am I supposed to say to that?
Yeah.
bro, Inter Miami is cashing out, bro. Like they have a cash cow and they know it, but it's just like this is
Yeah.
the Americanization of this sport.
Mm.
And on behalf of America, I apologize, to be honest. Like,
Yo, when MLS starts in like a month, are we gonna have like a Inter Miami like counter? Like we just check in on them?
honestly, it might, because look, these guys don't respect us. Like the people listening don't respect her.
Yeah.
So we might have to dig into this MLS business. I think MLS has a similar vibe to AFCON, just like Hooper's hooping. Like no real structure, just like go out there and play. There's like two teams that are actually good at the game.
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll see, dude.
but yeah, good pod, great game, great day. These are the I'm gonna dream about today for like a week until we lose to West Ham or some shit. Um, but thank you guys for listening. Oh, something to look out for. I think Pride Podcast is gonna do a giveaway soon.
Ooh.
Um,
Bro, we are, dude.
we're close to 100 followers on TikTok, and I think it's definitely something to celebrate. So get us there, and then we'll talk. Um, keep listening, keep watching, keep following, keep liking. We will see you next time. Stay healthy. Goodbye.
Bye bye, bye bye.